Alright guys, it is I, bring me the boa. I changed the camera angle a little bit. Wow, my forehead really do be shiny. Wow, my scalp is like white. Anyways, on this video, not a whole reptile related thing. It's more so, just a couple books that I recommended, and I'm also going to just kind of go through and find my favorite species. I just thought this would be kind of fun, especially with YouTube promoting the whole hashtag with me for the COVID quarantine, which is being lifted in a lot of places, so I'm kind of behind the ball on that one. But previously in the past, when I was thawing out mice, God dang it. Dang it, I always ruin my piles of stuff. I should make my room look more organized. I previously showed this off a bit from Dr. Andrew Holycross, who's one of my professors at my community college, and was just kind of showing off, recommending this as a good breed if you want to brush up on your species here in Arizona, or if you want to take a trip here to look for stuff, or if you just want to expand your horizons on just native reptiles to the U.S. because these species aren't necessarily just in Arizona; they're also in some of our neighboring states as well. But I did recommend this book. I want to say I recommended my I don't know if I had my book from Dr. O'Connor in there. Brandon O'Connor. He just a little thing. If you guys like rattlesnakes, I would highly. Dude, there's a bug on my camera. I would highly recommend following Dr. O'Connor. That is the name of the Instagram account. He takes some phenomenal pictures of rattlesnakes. I found his account when I was starting to really get into speckled rattlesnakes earlier in 2019. So this kind of solidified it, but then he gave me some very useful information for Mexican hognoses. I'm not going to really divulge it too much until I get into the Mexican hognose video, whenever that happens. Let's just say I've been looking in the wrong time of year, the wrong temperatures, and the wrong time of day. So now that I'm armed with some new knowledge, I'm going to test and see which amounts of knowledge are going to prevail. Not that I think either are wrong, I just think I just don't have enough luck to find it in the conditions I'm looking for, so I'm going to have to look at the purely optimum temperatures and seasons. But without further ado, and that a little shout out of the way, not that it's much of a shout out, but at least it'll be preached to the ears of 44 people. And hopefully some of you guys will at least go and check out some of his pictures. He has some amazing pictures of different species of rattlesnake. He also lives here in Arizona, so I'm always happy to help boost someone, even if it's not with a huge audience, but still to get some more people to hear and know of people who are from here, or people who take a lot of time and joy into what they do. And he's very good at what he does with his wildlife photography, so highly recommend. But this book, it has been through a beating. It is because I've had this for almost a decade now. I got it right after we moved here to Arizona in 2010. So yeah, this book has been through a lot of trips to school, because when I was younger and I didn't have a whole lot of friends and not a lot of stuff to do in school, I'd bring a book, because they can't tell you to put away the book. Like, they can't take away a book. So I used to read all of these, and I have little pages folded in and stuff to mark species that I wanted to see. And I just thought, for a fun little video, even though we're already 5 minutes in almost, I would look at some of my favorite species, not just from this book, because this is North American Southwest, so this is kind of localized. But to those of you who are watching who don't live in the area, it might pique your interest because there are some very colorful lizards, including the one on the cover, which, fun fact, I've caught one of these. A baby one. No adult one would be dumb enough to let me near it. But I did catch one of these by throwing sand at it. Oh, that sounds awful. I threw sand in the air, and it made like a little cloud, and I grabbed him. I was so excited because we'd never caught one of these. But this book right here, and this is to kind of pique interest for those of you who live in the Southwest and for those of you who don't, and just the beautiful species of lizards we have here in the U.S. This one is just lizards, though. This book is of Florida, a completely different state, but and a very interesting one for wildlife nonetheless. This is a very, very good book, a very thick book, just like this one. This one's also a pretty thick book, but this one's just one state. This one is the entire Southwest, and they are about the same thickness, so tells you a lot about Florida. So this one I'm very excited about. If we don't get to it in this one, I'll make a part 2 just for this. I'll probably end up doing one for this and some other books, just because I enjoy reading. I need to do it more, but then also I'm going to be showing the pictures and stuff like that. I didn't really know how to do a video like this because I don't have PDFs of any of these books, and well, I don't edit my own videos, so I don't want to create anything too extenuous or challenging for my editors either. But let's see. I'll open up to... Yeah, it's actually pretty fitting. So when I first moved here, I was really, really into geckos. When I first caught my first western banded gecko, I thought it was a leopard gecko. I was like, whoa, what is this? Because we have a lot of Mediterranean geckos, which they're in here. I know they are because they're oh, maybe they're not in here because they are non-native. Well, that's no fun. And I don't have my other books with me. Big brain. They're also in Florida, so I want to show you guys what they... This is something I'm going to show you guys too. This one obviously, but you guys don't need to see it right now. In the Florida one, I'm also going to mention the snakes that I wanted to find in Florida. Oh wait, am I just in snakes right now? This is reptiles and amphibians. Yes, okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, so there's turtles. Turtles. Where are the lizards? Lizard. There's a lizard. Crocs. Okay, fibrous lizards, glass lizards. Geckos. There we go. Common house gecko. That's not it, but we did see some of those. Let's see. I'm trying to work efficiently so I don't waste too much time. Yes, Mediterranean. Here we go. Hemidactylus turqueus. It's that name right there. Not that picture though. Let me get to the correct picture. We have these here in Arizona. They are non-native. Right here, these guys. They are quite abundant here in Arizona, actually. But it just kind of shows you how versatile those geckos are, because if they live here in Arizona, which is completely different from Florida, they're doing something right on the evolutionary scale. But I caught those and it kind of piqued my interest in geckos, but then once I learned that there are different types of geckos, like geckos with eyelids and geckos who can't climb, I was like, whoa, that's kind of cool. And in this book, I was looking through the species, and I found that one banded gecko, and I was like, I think these are pretty cool, which I still think they're cool. I'm probably going to catch one or two because they are very abundant here in Arizona. So when I'm out looking, hopefully I'll find some more. I know I will. What am I saying hopefully? I've found them on accident before in abundance. So, and I have a spot that I haven't gone to in years, which means the population should be booming, because when I used to go there, I used to catch them to breed them. I bred them, then I'd let them go, but I'd let them go to parks near here. But since I have not touched that spot in literal years, I would assume that that population should be a nice ripe fruit for me to pick. So they're part of the Eublephaриdae genus, which same thing as a leopard gecko, same thing as Chinese cave geckos, Japanese cave geckos, the Malaysian cat-eyed gecko. or no, the Malaysian cat gecko. What else? What are some other? Oh, Eublepharidea or Eublepharis macularius, which is the leopard gecko, the common leopard gecko. There's also the Eublepharis. What's it called? Hardwicki, which is one of my personal favorites. I finally got to hold one at the Reptile Expo in 2019. I was so excited because they're the Indian leopard gecko. They look different. They're cool. There are some distinctive traits that they have that the regular leopard gecko does not. I'll get into that someday, but 10 minutes in, still haven't really shown anything. There are several species of these banded geckos, which are the essentially the leopard geckos of the New World. So there's the Texas banded, which, as the name implies, it's in Texas. I'm gonna say it's in New Mexico too. Yeah, it's Texas, New Mexico, but primarily in this map you can see most of this part right here. That's all in Mexico. All these geckos are really closely related. They're all about that long max. So let me see. Oh, that's in millimeters, which since this is towards an American audience, not a whole lot of people know not enough about millimeters. It's 60 to 85 millimeters. I don't have my ruler. Dang it. I want to say about 4 inches long, I want to say. But looking at these, they're also different. Like the reticulated one was one that I wanted to see someday. Don't know if I ever will, but these were some of my favorite species of lizards here in the Southwest. This one, the Switax, that's how you say it. I always used to call it a Sitawak because I never actually read the title. I was just like, oh, something cool. The Switax banded gecko was one of my favorites. To me, it looked the most like a leopard gecko. And something about its head shape, I just really like it. And its color pattern and palette was just really aesthetically pleasing to me. And this juvenile with the yellow here in the back, don't know if that's showing through or not, is something I really like to look at and was aesthetically pleasing to me. But then I saw the other variants, the yellow variants. This baby right here is one of the most striking pictures of one I've ever seen, and it kind of cemented itself into my head. But they're in California, so if I ever take a trip to Cali and get to go looking, definitely going to try to find one. But now, to the one that sparked that interest, the Western banded gecko, which these are Colonyx. I used to know this so well. Variegatus. So here's a scientific name right there. And here's the range map. The different colors also, by the way, are significant because they show subspecies, which is another topic I'll cover just because it's something that I feel like people should know about, and the importance of conservation and why subspecies and species and localities are different and why they all matter. But all these pictures are different subspecies, but their babies, I love how their babies look, in all honesty. That thick banding and just the yellow and black, it just looks nice. And then I've caught some of the, this is from Arizona, this one's from Arizona. So I was like, that variant looks very familiar to me, and that's because it's from here in Arizona. So is this one. Actually, all the pictures of the Western banded gecko in here are from Arizona, they're from Pinal County. This one I like. I don't know if that one's from Pinal County though, because it doesn't have a location tag on it. But they are, what I like about them is they are a colonial species, which means you can keep multiple together without issue. That is something that I've always thought was super cool in reptile species, is when you don't have to worry about cannibalism or feeding issues or aggression, and they can just live together. I used to have, I want to say, a colony of 5 or 6, and so in my 20 gallons, and I used to just let them live there. And like, I had a whole ecosystem set up where really all they needed was me to put food in there every now and then. I loved it. It's something I want to do again, but I just don't have the time or the space, the resources now that I have all the pets that I do. This is back when I was like 10, which I'm dating myself now. I'm carbon dating myself. You guys are probably going to figure out how old I am. Not that that matters, I guess. I've already been transparent about my first name. But let's move on. I've spent 15 minutes, well, 5 minutes discussing why I want to do this, and then 10 minutes on the geckos. There are some lizards in here that I really do want to get to, and I don't want to drag this out into a 20-minute long video, even though we're 5 minutes away from that. And I spent so much time. This one was one I've never gotten to see, but I always wanted to. But I think it's funny because this is for the Southwest, but majority of the subspecies of this are actually on the eastern part of the country, because this is as far west as it goes, which is Texas, about halfway through Texas. So, and that's Florida right there. That's the Panhandle up here. You know, so East Coast, Midwest, or no, Midwest, West. For those of you who don't live in the U.S., it's kind of weird. You'd figure the Midwest would be middle of the country. It's not. Well, actually, they are in the Midwest a little bit, but I just thought that the greens and the blues on them, because that is unadulterated photography. That is how they look. And I just thought that they're so cool, but I've never really gotten to see them. Whiptails I always thought were so cool because they're just so weird. They're so fast. They also look like monitors. This is the one. This is one I've wanted to see just because of how cool it is. The Sonoran spotted whiptail, because they're asexual. They reproduce by budding. I mean, okay, I shouldn't have laughed so hard at that. A couple of my friends are going to get that joke, and they're the only ones that's going to find that funny. But they reproduce asexually. So the females will reenact mating behaviors, but since they don't have male reproductive organs, there's no sperm. There's no sperm and ova coming in contact with each other. There's no sperm. I'm hoping everyone just glosses over that, but now I'm kind of past that. I'm thinking about it. But it's just cool. There's a couple asexual species of whiptails. But where's the one on the cover? That's the one I want to... Oh! One I have extensive experience with. Not that one. Hold on. I gotta find it. No, that's not it. They're really... Some of these lizards are so pretty, but... That's not it. Where did they all go? That's not it either. I mean, I've caught these before, and I have experience with these, but this is not... That's not it either. I'm getting stressed because I have 2 minutes to get... this is going to go over 20 minutes, I'm sorry. I'm not intentionally dragging this out. I genuinely was trying to get this under 20 minutes because I have a bad tendency of 20-minute long videos. And this is probably going to drag out because it's mainly just me flipping through pages and talking and blah, 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 blah. Oh, this is it. Clark's spiny lizard. This is one that I love. I've had some experience with. I even tried breeding these until Fruit Loop, my pug, broke the... Because they were in a big, giant screen thing because we kept them outside to help encourage breeding behaviors. He ripped through the screen and they got out. But ironically, because of that, we started a population of them in my neighborhood. Since then, I've been able to find so many of them, I just lost them. So we're moving on. We lost it. We spent enough time. Oh, we found it again. Dang. They're really pretty. Their mating colors right there are gorgeous. You can find some peachy colored ones if you know where to look. I have a spot. I'm not going to say it on YouTube because that probably does make their population if people are like, ooh, that's cool. Horned lizards are another cool one. Also known as horny toads, but they're not toads. So that's a pet peeve of mine that developed over the years. I used to call them horny toads, but now I'm like, no, they're not amphibians. But all of them I just think are cool. I think this is the regal one, right? Yep. I like how I know that and I second guess myself. I just always thought that their flat body shape was cool. But if you also look at them, everything but the head is kind of really reminiscent of a bearded dragon to me. So I think that it's kind of cool that body shape and that body style is something that's just common in arid environments. Because it just kind of shows that nature has a way of doing things, and if those things are successful, they reproduce. Weirdly enough, I've never seen one of these here in the, not in the U.S., here in Arizona. I've only ever seen 2 horned lizards in the wild. One in Wyoming when I was like 6 or 7, and in Texas on our way home in the road. So, yeah, I've never really seen many of these. I love them though, but I would never keep one in captivity. This is it. This is the one. This is the species that we saw in... Sorry, this is how I get when this is what it's like when you're dating or being around someone that has a passion for wildlife and just figures out what they just saw. It's like, oh, that's it. Yeah, that is, because that's right around where we saw it. It was El Paso. So, we caught one of these. It's a round-tailed horned lizard. We didn't know if it was endangered or not, an endangered species, because we know there was a couple of them, of horned lizards that were endangered there. So we didn't really touch it or anything. I mean, I caught it because I was like, horned lizard, and I'm like, uh-oh, it might be endangered. But no, they're not endangered at all. We could have kept it, but I'm glad we didn't, because they tend to expire relatively quickly in captivity because they just aren't meant for captivity. We can't replicate their conditions. This is a gorgeous one. This is a picture I always remember seeing in this book. But I've spent 2 minutes on these guys. There we go. The greater earless lizard. What I promised at the beginning. This guy right here. In fact, that's the same picture. I just realized that after years of having this book, I never realized that was the same picture. Just flipped. But yeah, that is the greater earless lizard. They are gorgeous little lizards. I used to call them rainbow lizards when I was younger because, can you blame me? Look at them. Look at the cover. Look at that lizard. You would not think that that's real if you saw it. In a picture, you'd have to see it to believe it type of thing. But no, they're just as colorful, if not more colorful. This one's from Maricopa County. That one's from Maricopa, which is where I do most of my looking, which, well, now that kind of showed where I live. But, yeah, that's it. That's the one I wanted to show you guys. So, thank you guys so much for